Hello. Alright, so today we have another pot. This one I wanted to try to see if I could get a pretty large blossom on the top. Just wanted to see how I would go about it. I ran into some problems. I don't think the skirt on this pot really turned out well, but I think it's all just good practice, and it's good to try out some new things. And so we'll get into it. I was struggling with wedging a half, not a quarter. I did a half this time, just because I wanted to see what I could do with it. I think it turned out okay. I feel like my wedging recently has been okay. I'm getting some air bubbles, but I always think that air bubbles aren't really a big problem. You know, if you can, as long as you're keeping the same pressure, you can pop those air bubbles, and usually they don't even, nothing really happens to them. At least to me. I know some people put air bubbles in and it just totally destroys their pots, but maybe I just dry slowly so they never really have the time to explode. Fixing up that bottom and just pinning it right on, you know. Larger amount of clay. And something funny happens when I'm coning this clay up, actually. And so you'll see that here in a second, but you can tell the clay's really soft. It's moving pretty smooth. Whenever I start working a little bit larger, I think my hands really cut into the clay more than move the clay. And so I think that's also something I need to work on. I'm trying to keep my hand close to the bat head there, just so I can scrape all that stuff that would get cut off or wouldn't be centered. I can try to get that back up into the clay. And then you can see this is where I kind of messed up, and I was pulling a little bit too much upwards and it just lifted it off. Usually what I do to prevent that is you take a little bit of clay and put it underneath there. There is clay there, but I think it probably dried by now, and so it's separated pretty easily. And so I think after I get this pot off tomorrow, I'll probably try to put some more clay underneath there. And on that, you can tell on that way down there, I really locked in my elbows, you know, when they were locked in, and I stopped that shaking that was happening in my hand, the thing just went straight to center. I always say if your hands are moving, the clay's going to be moving, and not in the way that you want it to be. And I've been continuing to try to work on keeping the clay a little bit taller when I make my hole. And it's actually been helping me keep clay up. This one I actually was too thin towards the bottom at one point, and it kind of made me a little bit nervous. So you'll see, I think I do a downward pull to try to fix it. I think it worked out okay. Compressing that bottom a little bit. You can see for the past couple days I've been using that rib to do it. Totally okay. You know, it's not really that big of a deal. I'm gonna go with the first pull. The first pull is kind of more difficult and a little bit more weird for me when don't have as much, when I have a lot more clay and it's not as low. I found that it's a little bit harder to do those, and I kind of cut off the bottom a little bit. This here I'm trying to do a palm of the hand pull, and so I'm using the sort of this L shape here on the clay, and I'm trying to just carry that up. Helped out a little bit this time. I'm also not really the best at that sort of style of pole, so.
I'm gonna sponge it.
Yeah, and I lost my sponge. So I was just looking around for a while. Yeah, sometimes I really lose things. As soon as I set them down, it's totally out of my mind. A lot of times I'm just automatic with that sort of stuff, but I end up being okay. Because I found it right here. It was in my old thing. I think I had some slop. I tried to scoop it out. Also, I really gotta be more careful about getting water on my on my wheel, just not where I'm throwing, but right where the water is underneath there. Sometimes it's like a little bit. It's a little bit too wet, and I don't know. I just think it kind of can get gross sometimes, and so I think I gotta do a better job of cleaning it. You can see I'm using the palm of my hand right there. Sometimes it really helps moving some like larger amounts of clay, but you can see that it's really wanting to pick up off the wheel, and it's so obnoxious. And so collaring that top in a little bit there, just trying to get it ready. And then right underneath where my hand is there a second ago, that like bottom quarter, it's pretty like thin there actually, and so it's a little bit worrisome. Here I am trying to get a pole in there, cut off some clay, but I actually have a way better movement of the clay than what I thought I was having, you know. I think sometimes when you're working with clay, and I think I was going pretty fast. When you work fast, you don't really appreciate some of the poles, but that was pretty good. Here I am after collaring, just trying to establish that top part. Sometimes it gets really funky looking. Some of that water on that elbow, so if it, I didn't even do that collared first, but get water on that elbow so I can kind of push it up against that rim. Making that little hole there. But yeah, it's looking okay, you know, but just think that the way the pots sort of look is I was totally just trying to play off the fact that my iPad died. Fuck. Yeah, so my iPad died. I don't know, I guess I'll don't have to do any more videoing, but I do know what the pot looks like, and so I will say a couple of things before. Usually I watch the video next to me so then I can commentate over top of it, and then take this recording and I put it over top of the video that I'm watching right now. But my iPad just died, so I can't really see anything, and I totally tried to play it off like I can still see it, but it's okay. That's just the way things go sometimes. But some things I can say about the pot are, later on you'll see it sort of almost has this like little belly out and then curves out towards the top, and I think that actually worked out really well. I think some things I should try to do in the future are really work on that bottom section. I think maybe I should do a couple where I just smooth out that bottom section. I also think I need to start making a pot that sort of fits into one another. Like if I make two pots, they like nest into each other in a really funky way. And so I think I'll be trying to do that. And I'll try to be making some like thin necked ones, but yeah, that's probably about it. Anyway, thank you for watching. all the best and strong mentality. I hope whatever, maybe it's this way. I don't even know. One of these ways. Whatever Nova's doing right now looks cool for you guys. Sorry again that my iPad just died. All right, peace.